Welcome to another milepost of the V-Twin Life. We talk motorcycles, powered by those V-Twins, why we enjoy it, what they mean to us, and just why we enjoy the open road. V-Twin Life is brought to you by crashinclothing.com, also known as Crash Inc. on the World Wide Web. Man, Brad has sold a lot of stuff. You want to get some merchandise, you want to get parts, you want to upgrade stuff on your bike. He is a dealer for a lot of great companies, so check out crashinclothing.com and see what they got for you. Now, we got Wild Ass. You want to add some comfort to your ass? Man, Wild Ass has got you covered. They've got something you like. Use that promo code DWoods. Get yourself free shipping and put that ass in comfort. Can't forget Custom Dynamics, leading the world in LED lighting and LED technology. Man, these got some great stuff. You want to light up your life at nighttime? You want to be seen during the day? Hey, check out Custom Dynamics. Can't forget Lexan. These guys got some great comm units. I just got the new G16s. Man, you want to talk quality? These things are awesome. Loudspeakers, plus they got some air pumps, small ones you keep in your bike. They're ready to go. So check out Lexan. So now, let's get to another milepost of the V-Twin Life. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another milepost as we are kicking down milepost 151 with a man better known as Semi-3 Karl. It was funny how we got introduced, and I was seeing so many posts from everybody, you know, the milepost 73, and I'm just like, I don't understand. And dude, they were all over my feed because, you know, all of our, you know, mutual friends and the Facebook groups that we're all, you know, part of within motorcycle riding. And then, of course, you know, we got a big shout out to Wrong Way. Yep. Dude, you need to hook up with Denver, you know, tagged us. And so here we are, you know, thanks there, Wrong Way, for looking out for us up.
Yes, sir.
It's going to be fun. I mean, it's like when we were talking on the phone last week, it's like, oh, this is going to be great because, you know, seemed like a high energy individual. And, you know, the conversation was great. And it's one of those like, oh, we got to take a time out because we don't want to share all the stories. And it's like, you got to try to relive it twice.
Right. Appreciate you having me, man.
Oh, no, absolutely. Thank you. Got to give a big shout out here to also to Metier Motorcycle Lawyers. These guys came on and now supporting the podcast. A great group of guys that look out for riders that have been hurt in accidents. So if you get in an accident, you need some help, contact Metier because that's what they do. So we got that one out of the way. So let's start this how I like to, man. How'd you find motorcycles? Where'd it come into your life for you?
Oh, wow. Okay. I remember that like it was yesterday. I was about 6 years old. And there was a guy in the neighborhood, and he was a teenager. His name was Jimmy Ray Johnson. His parents owned a very historical black food establishment. His grandparents, it was called the Victory Grill. So he worked, made a little money. He bought a CB 125. I'll never forget it, blue and white. And he used to zip up and down the neighborhood. And every time he would, the girls would just, oh, Jimmy Ray. And at that moment, I said, I'm going to get me a motorcycle one day. So, you know, family could never afford one. I never even got a mini bike. I joined the Marines in 1982, go off to boot camp. While you're in boot camp, I don't know that we're earning money because we're actually employed at that time. I got a back pay check in like August of that year, and it was like about $3,000. And there was a civilian selling a CB 750 custom for $2,600, and I bought it. And I've been riding ever since 1982.
That's cool. Well, on a side note, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Actually, looks like my wife beat me to that. You didn't watch them, but so, you know, how long do you have your first one, the 750?
Oh, wow. 82 to 85. And I jumped on the sport bike scene, the GPZ 750.
Ooh.
Bought one of those, the red one, jumped off that. And in 86, I want to say 86, 87, 80. No. I bought a used 84 FJ 1100. And then I rode that for a couple of years. And then I stayed on sport bikes. I mean, I had a couple other crews. I had a 750 Maxim. I had a Nighthawk. But I had the GPZ, the Gixxer. I had a GS 1150. KZ 1000. I mean, I've had so many bikes, but the Harley is actually the longest tenured bike I've ever owned, and the bike with literally the most miles I've ever put on a single bike.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What year was your GS?
My 1150E.
Yeah.
85. It had the big bubble fairing with the big old light. Most people turn them into drag bikes. I think it was an 85. It was a GS 1150 ES.
I had an 83 GS 750 ES, the white and red
Oh
one.
yeah, with that little uh,
Little
quarter
like
fairing.
cafe fairing. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that bike, man. Suzuki made some bulletproof bikes back then.
Oh, that they did. That was a fun bike. The 4-into-1 with a super trap on it.
Oh, Super Trap header. That was the one with the little disc.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, I remember those. I was a Kirker man myself. I love my Kirkers. I was a Kirker. If Kirker had a header, it was on my bike. It was on my bike. I put the
Yeah,
big
they were good.
megaphone.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Those were fun.
Oh
They
man.
had a very unique sound
They
too.
did. They had a unique sound. I mean, you could. I mean, that Kirker had its own exhaust note. It was sweet. It was so sweet.
When did the bug really set into you that you knew that, motorcycles were definitely going to be a part of life for you?
Immediately. I mean, I didn't own my first car until 1993.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
from 82 to 93, I never owned a car. I bought my first car in 1993, and it was, I tell you, I mean, I bought it out of necessity. It was an 82 Honda Prelude. I never thought about buying a car. I used to tell, when I was on the dating scene, I tell a young lady that I met, hey, look, I don't own a car. So if we got to ride in the rain, you hope you have a car. We're going, you stay at your place, I stay at mine, or you come over, whatever. Because I didn't never thought about a car. didn't see, I didn't ride from late 90s until '01. I'd say 96, 90. No, I say 98, 90. I say 98, 99 until like '01, '02. I didn't ride anything at that time. My youngest son, Cam, was born in '02, and I had of all things, he was a baby, and I was riding a Yamaha R1 with no car. And I wound up getting a car, kept the bike, but the bike just sat parked, and kids, I lived in an apartment at the time, and kids would always climb up on the R1, flip it over, and they would bust that casing. I'd have a slow oil leak, go get it fixed, ride a little while, park it again. They do the same thing. I go clamoring to parents, I'm gonna kill your kids. They messing up my bike. And then, I realized like, I got a baby here. I was a single parent. My son, his mom had let me have custody of him at the time. So I'm a single parent with a baby. I mean, he hadn't even turned a year yet. So like I made a decision, no bikes, sold my bike. So from '02 until literally 2017, I didn't ride. Well, okay, '02, I get cancer in 2014. I beat cancer. My wife lets me buy a bike, but I'm only on that bike for probably a year. It was a naked, literally a naked ninja. It was a ZX. What they call it, a ZX? It was a
Yeah.
2013 brand spanking new, the ZX 1000R. So it was the Ninja engine and this little naked bike with a little fairing, little skinny green. It was that lime green color. And I'm
Yeah, the
out here in
white
the
and
front,
green.
huh?
The white and green one?
Yeah. So I'm out here on the street. I'm revving it up, living the old days. That front end lifts up in the air, and I'm going towards this car, and I'm like, okay, it's gone. So that I get rid of it. So I finish out, 2015, kids enter high school. In 2017, Harvey hit. House got flooded, and when we put it all back together, I asked the wife to let me buy it. So I bought a VFR 1200, and that's what I rode until I sold it to buy the Harley. So yeah, I've been through some bikes. I've been through a lot of bikes.
That's for sure. You've
Yeah.
had a wide array of
Oh yeah.
genres of motorcycles.
Yeah. Never in my matter of fact, a good friend of mine kids with me a lot about. I talk bad about Harley when I was younger. Never buying one of them old raggedy bikes. Now I wouldn't give it up. I looked at a Beamer today. I'm really close. It's a BMW R 1200. No, is it a R1200T or something? It's a Taurus, it's a 2009, very good shape, but I don't know if I'm gonna pull the trigger on it, but something to think about. But as long as I got my
BMWs, I
Harley,
mean, yeah. But with BMWs, man, it is definitely they are a tried and true, tested and well proven motorcycle that will go the distance. That is no joke with BMWs. I love their adventure bikes. I wouldn't mind someday adding an adventure bike to the collection,
to your
but
stable, yeah. What would you get if you got one? What would you get?
I always thought it'd be a BMW, but even the new KTM's, those things are
Nice,
pretty sharp. A guy I work with just bought one. I was looking at it the other day at work. It's like, dang, they're sharp. But it,
nice.
man, you look at KTM and the Dakar rallies and how well they're doing, and and then you got the Honda Africa Twin. I mean, it'd really be hard to exactly decide unless everything came around and you just find that right one. But I'd probably lean towards a BMW just for the fuel, because
Okay.
man, they got what is my buddy Steve has one. I think he's got like a 9.5 gallon gas tank. And it's like we're doing these touring rides, like with my ride to do the Monsters Over Mountains, and dude, he's fueling like every other fuel stop, and all the rest of us with 5 and 6 gallon tanks are getting fuel, and he's barely to half a tank. It's like, dang.
Yeah. If I don't know if I went adventure, it'd probably be the Pan America just because I've been on one. I kind of like it. But if I was, I mean, if I had, just an indisposable amount of money, I would buy the K1600. I love that BMW. That thing's got that inline 6-cylinder engine. I mean, goo gobs of power, man. I mean, just roll the throttle and that thing takes off like a rocket. I think the only thing I've heard bad about it, which is not a big thing to me, is the audio. But I can live without that. I mean, it's just for me, it's just a beautiful bike. But again, I'd have to, because I mean, I'm sure maintenance on those is a little different than the Harleys, and I'm still just learning how to, do my own stuff on my own Harley now. I've done the bearings, changed the rear wheel, bought a few things, and I've learned to tinker with it to save a little, nickel and dime here, because HD
Right.
stands for $100 every time you go to the dealership. HD is $100. It's a minimum $100.
Yeah, it's not even to cover the shop time hourly rate.
Oh yeah, man. They don't play, man. But I can say, matter of fact, when I was on this ride, I stopped in a little town in Oklahoma. Me and this guy that wound up meeting up with me, James. We had lunch, and this guy comes in and he claimed he was a Harley. He had been a Harley rep, and he'd ridden so many bikes. And the first thing he asked me was, "What engine are you on?" I go, "The original." Oh wow. How many miles you got? I said, "She's just about to turn 93,000." Say, look, I mean, there's guys out there that talked about maintenance, and that's one thing I'm religious about my bike. I don't do nothing but AMSOIL for my primary. I do Redline for the primary and transmission, and AMSOIL for the engine itself. I change it all out. And when I do them, I do all three of them at the same time. Every 5,000 miles, not that 15, 20,000. I do them every one of them 5,000 miles, or as close to 5,000 miles I get. I think after this trip, I'm at 5,300. So bike's in the garage. I may drive tomorrow. I may ride it to work, but I'll change the oil in the next 3-4 days.
Yeah, I run AMSOIL in the 75 140 in my in the transmission, and I run the Bel-Ray mineral oil primary in my primary, because for some reason, if I run synthetic in my primary, it'll weep out my drain plug. And I've went through multiple drain plugs, change them, and for some reason it will weep out of it. So it's like, nope. And then I run conventional in mine for my oil, just because the mileage I got. If I run synthetic, she likes to just take it out the exhaust pipes. And so I don't run the synthetic in the engine. I run the Valvoline 2050 V-twin, but then, it's AMSOIL and Bel-Ray for me.
And in the beginning, I was doing the Valvoline. Is that the VR one?
Might be.
I think that's what I started with. I eventually went to, I just went to AMSOIL because I wound up finding I guess they call them a dealer or whatever, and
yeah,
I get it at a nice little rate. And I usually keep it in stock. I actually have some in the garage. I don't wait, to do it. I usually keep some on hand. I always keep I mean, I got my derby cover gasket. I'm always ordering ahead of time, but I kind of do the same thing with my models and stuff. So I do the same with my bike. You know, I buy it before I need it. But you know, the bearings I was scared of because I've heard the horror stories about bearings going out. So I was like, man, Lord, I don't want that to happen to me. I had a short in my bike one time on the ride to Memphis in a little town called Arkadelphia, Arkansas. And I was freaking out. I had no clue about my hog membership or anything like that. I'm on the side of the road about to cry because I'm like, you know, I've heard the horror stories about how much a Harley can cost to repair. This guy says, hey, man, you got your hog membership card? I go, yeah. Turn it over. Call that number. And my bike gets towed. And I'm at the hotel. Like, wow. They move me to the front. I paid $50 to get my bike. They rewired the entire Harley. And it was my own fault. But God said, look, man, all they asked us to do is tell them what the problem was. We're going to tell them that your wiring went out. We put a new wiring harness in there. And I'm like, cool. So, yeah. That's another reason I'm on a Harley. Harley, if BMW, Honda, any of the others came up with a ride incentive program, like I love getting my hog miles. I got my little coins that I get. That's part of the thing to me because I like challenges. I like to do something and get something for doing it. You know, I mean, so if I ride 500 miles or if I go to so many dealerships, I get all these points. I got like $85 worth of Harley dollars. Well, $85 that I can spend I can go to a Harley dealership and redeem them or do them online. I get my gloves. When I'm on the ride, I buy my poker chips. They don't come out of my pocket. Every little nickel helps.
Very true.
So, yeah, so that's what I like about, the Harley thing. I do the little challenges every month. I think you got to ride like 500 miles, go to 4 dealerships. I usually go to the same 4 dealerships right here in Houston. But if I'm trying to meet the challenges where you get the thing every year, you're going to get that check-in one time. So when I'm on the rides, I'll hit my GPS and go nearest Harley dealership. Oh, it's only 30 miles outside. I think I can do that. Ride over there, get my little picture taken with my little thing, and I move on.
I know Solo was asking if you've had any pinging issues.
Pinging on my bike?
I'm thinking so.
No, I haven't had anything on my bike. I mean, she purrs. I mean, and I don't, I've seen people talk about their bikes. I ride it, like I say, anybody that's reading with me will tell you, I don't go faster than 73 miles an hour. It's a rarity. I may pop up to 75 by accident, hit the cruise and resume. It goes up, then it comes back down. But my bike purrs at that, so I've never had any issues. I mean, about a year or so ago, I saw where Hop was sending in his oil and having it analyzed. And my last one, it came back, they give you a little summary of it. Says it's well within the tolerances. So I do that every other oil change. I'll do it. I think it's like $20 to send it in. If it's that, I don't think it's that much. I think they send you the little container. I know that much. But other than that, I mean, I've never. Oh, synthetic will run thin.
Synthetic will run thin. Yeah.
Okay. Huh. I mean, I never, like I said, I didn't hear any pinging. I do recall that case. So the hottest it got for me on that Route 66 ride was out in Arizona, and that was California, 106. But I was only there, a couple of maybe 30, 40 minutes, and then I was heading back. I think it dropped back down to 102, then into the 90s. But again, I don't ride, I'm not at 85 plus miles an hour, and I'm sure the bike is hotter at that time. And I don't know if any of you have, I've been considering that oil cooler that I've seen. There's a company that sells this oil cooler. It's supposed to drastically reduce your oil temperatures, but you have to, it goes inside where your lower fairing. It fits inside of there. It's a big old cooler. You run the plumbing. I think it's like $500. I've been thinking about doing that. Because this Harley, the baby, her name is Baby. She's going to the grave with me. I'm gonna get another one when I retire, so I can, I'm gonna get me another nice road glide this time. But Baby is going to my grave with me. I mean, that's she going to the ground with me. Yeah, that's my baby.
Yeah, that's how mine is. I'll keep my road glide forever. I mean, plus with mine, it's just that sentimental because I'm the second owner and the first was my dad. So I'll keep it forever.
Okay. I see K Solo said HD has a plug and play cool. Okay, I'll look into that, man. I appreciate you. Yeah. So what size is your bike? Are you a one? What are you? What are you? What is
No,
your
mine was an 88 because mine's a 2004, and then it was bumped to the 95 and just a mild cam. Got rid of the cam tensioners, went gear drive, and just for a little bit more oomph and pulling. And no, I like it a lot.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't tinker. I mean, I used to when I was in the car. I used to be in the muscle cars. I had a Mustang Cobra '95. We dropped a 14-pound Vortex supercharger, twisted forward. At the rear wheel, we were knocking. This was in 1995. At the rear wheel, we were knocking 470 horsepower.
Ooh.
But now, let me tell you the crazy thing. I dropped $30,000 into my stereo system. That was my thing. Man, I was winning competitions. I went all the way. I would go from Houston to Atlanta. Back then, they had a big car show called the Nopi Nationals. It was in Atlanta. If you Google it, it might still come up. I rode all the way out to Atlanta. I came back with every audio competition trophy. I had trophies hanging out of my window driving back to Houston. I had a 9-foot trophy, dude. But one day, I'm in the car, riding down the street, and a guy in a Mitsubishi 3000 GT pulls up on the side of me. He's done tweaked it out. I didn't know this until afterwards, but he's got twin turbos in it now. And he left the light and I left the light. I did all this motor work and never touched the brakes. I got 470 horsepower with stock brakes. So Denver, I go to hit the brakes and they lock up on me. The back end says, I got to go somewhere, buddy, but I'm not going to flip you, but I'm going to turn you. So I go into a spin. I clip the median. The car goes airborne. I cut through 2 trees. Land on the other side of the road, going the wrong way, airbags deployed. I mean, the gas is everywhere inside the car. I get out of the car unscathed, man. I mean, I literally get out of the car, and a woman looked at me. She said, young man, God's got a plan for you. I never street raced again in my life. I got rid of that Mustang and never bought. After that, I went into luxury cars. Infinity, I bought all the luxury cars after that. But I've never had the gumption I've road raced. I used to road race with the bike. I raced in the bone stock class, Gixxer 750, 600, never modified. I call myself a quarter-mile racer again. My bike was always bone stock because I ain't never launched past 3,000 RPM. I've never had, my cojones ain't never been that big. But I've always, and it's funny, my son has ridden with me once. And he said every now and again, Dad, I might get a bike one day. I don't think he ever. None of my children, none of my boys, and my girls definitely have never, ever, and my wife doesn't get on my bike, period. She sat on my bike. I brought it home and she sat in the driveway. That's it. She doesn't ride. So I don't have that pleasure. I wish she would. I would love her back. But I mean, she supports me. That's the best part about it. She's always, she makes the ride. She'll ride in the car. She'll do the cage. I'll be on the bike. She's been to the RTE. She's been to the IT and to the Emory Union in Jacksonville. So she's there. She just doesn't do it on the bike.
So let's dive into this part so we can you've kind of somewhat covered it. Like we were talking earlier when, before we got to, meet you, whatnot, all the 73 posts.
Oh, man.
Everybody taking the mileposts, 73. I've even seen some exit signs, exit 73.
Yep.
And
so let me clear that. So it has to, so I had a guy post last night, and it was a highway 73. So it has to be mile marker 73 or exit 73. So as I told you, so it goes like this because of my 73, my name. Sheldon MacGyver was out riding one day, and he said, "Hey, 73, this is for you." And in the background, mile marker 73. So Kodak, the ground pounder, hey, is that a new ride? Is that a new challenge? I go, why not? Let's do it. Never in my wildest dream that I think people would actually start doing it. But, this guy did it, posted, tagged me. Somebody saw it. Oh, and, it's like Joe Mears is out doing the little on the Vespa, the cannonball.
Oh, yeah, the cannonball run.
Yeah, he's out doing the cannonball, but he's stopping to take pictures at mile marker 73 for me, man. It doesn't get any better than that. So I was like, after a while, I don't remember how many people had done it. I go, man, people get a certificate for a saddle sore. They get this. I said, let me go. So I went into Canva, created a little certificate, and I got to get caught up because I'm behind because of my ride. But I make them, and then I'll post them and I tag them and welcome the people into the 73 mile marker family. So it's a lot of fun, man, and I am blessed that people take the time to do it because it slows them down. But yeah, it's Hop. I'm sure you've seen Hop, man. He's taking it to another level when he's riding, man. He was like, so it is. I owe him a steak dinner. So I told him, he's been riding and he's probably I don't know how many he's at now. Hope you're feeling better, Hop. But I told him,
True,
I said, man,
he got a little banged up.
Yeah, he got a little banged up, man. I reached out to him yesterday because I had finally seen it because I'm catching up on some sleep. And I said, hey, man, how you doing? He's like, I'm doing good. I know he'd been in Dallas because I told my wife if he hadn't left Dallas, I was going to be driving to Dallas to get my boy and I was going to bring him home. That's and I told her that just before I called him or I reached out to him. But so he said, when I get this mile marker, you owe me a steak dinner. I'm like, man, whatever. If you do it, I'll do it. Hey, Hop, it's Hop, man. And look at the stuff he does. So I since he's watching, Mr. Solo, you owe me a 73 mile marker, partner. I need one with your name on it. So get on out there. I know you ground pounding. So next time, think about it. I got to get Karl a 73 mile marker. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's humbling. Just and I want to get. I'm not making anything. I don't ever want to. It's just I want to make it fun. I want to make it. I may make some shirts, and if people want to buy a shirt that says I'm a member of the 73 mile marker, have a big old mile marker with the. I've come up with different logos in my head, but I just want to make it fun, man. While they're out there riding, if people want to stop and do it, man, let's have fun with it. That's all I'm about. Like having fun, chewing up miles, making smiles. That's it.
And it goes really like when we were chit chat before we went on live. It's that camaraderie of that motorcycle community that we all enjoy so much, and that's why I do this. I have fun with it. I enjoy meeting other people, especially when we got the introduction from Wrong Way. I'm like, this is perfect because I don't know how long I've been seeing all the 73. I'm like, what is the story? And I try to go to page and look. I'm like, I don't find the answer. It's like, and then I guess light came on. You're talking. Okay, that's makes sense now.
It makes sense now, right? Right.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I think I told you this. I'm the CEO, and I only have one. I've only got one 73 mile marker under my belt, and I was doing a ride for Brain Cancer Foundation here in Houston last year, and on my way up to where they start at, which is in Montgomery County, there's a mile marker 73, and I stopped right there. Look, I got Reef is calling me. I know. What do you want, Reef?
So did you buy the damn bike?
No, not yet. Hey, I'm on a live podcast with Denver Woods right now. I'm gonna call you back.
All right. Hello.
He said hello.
What's up, Reef?
Yeah, he was asking me about the bike.
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude, man. Look, so Reef, man. Okay, so I'm doing IT into the end, 2023, and I've already gone over to Florida. So I decided to start in Florida. So I rode to Jacksonville. I'm on my way back. Stop in Houston, stay the night. I'm on my way to California the next day. Well, I'm actually going to go to El Paso. I get to Bernie, and he tells me to meet him at this dealership. Now I ain't hydrated. That's my problem. I don't hydrate right. Well, I do now. But that day, so I pull in, and he's waiting on me, and a guy named Low Key. Low Key is coming from the West Coast. And so I get off the bike, and I'm talking to him, but I feel myself not feeling well. So I lean on the back of the bike on my tour pack. He said, "You all right, man?" I said, "I don't know, man. I don't feel good." And as I walked to him, man, I stumbled and fall to my knees. He said, "Give me the keys." I look at him, I said, "Man, I'm going to get back. I'll be all right." He said, "Man, I ain't fought nobody in a long time over a motorcycle, but I'll fight you for them keys." I gave him the keys. God rest his soul. Chuck Abbey was working at the dealership. Chuck recently passed away. And he said, "Chuck, hey, man, I need you to take care of my boy's bike." So I'm like, all right. I'm going to take him to the hospital. So he takes me to the ER. He sits in the ER with me, man, for literally 6 hours. And he's got family because his wife is doing some stuff. He left me for like 15 minutes and came right back. Took me home to his house, let me bathe, furnished me some clothes, fed me and everything, man. So this, that biker community we talk about, this is that love that doesn't get talked about all the time. So yeah, him and God rest. I'm thinking about you, Chuck. I mean, I don't want to get emotional, but that was an amazing time that one day. And my wife fell in love with Reef that day. She hadn't met him yet. She meets him at the next ride to eat. So she hadn't met him in person at that time. But Reef to her that's her man, that's her guy, because he looked after me that day. So it was a blessing.
Well, it's like you talk about that, talk about another guy, actually my first ever podcast guest with, another one, rest in peace to Leo McElrath. He was a big fan, the ride 1K in a day. He would pound out the miles, and that was there's still videos of him, his biggest advice to anybody when doing, say you're doing a saddle store, you're doing a 1K, you're out there pushing miles, is hydration. He's like, you're going to fill your bike, then fuel yourself. Because every fuel stop, drink a bottle of water, drink some Gatorade. He goes, people don't realize that. He goes, if your bike needs fuel, he goes, you know what? So do you. He goes, and that was one of his big pushes to anybody that wanted to, getting into the kind of riding a lot of us enjoy is hydration.
Yeah,
it's very important.
Yeah, I thank God. I mean, I really learned. I mean, this Route 66 ride was probably health and body feeling wise was the best ride for me ever. I mean, the 48 states was literally a blur because every day my body was in some sort of flux. It was either hydration or nutrition. I wasn't either eating right or wasn't hydrating right. I had at least four times, I wound up either passing out or falling asleep in somebody's house. Thankfully, I was with someone when it happened because I hadn't hydrated right or I hadn't eaten right. But on this ride, I can tell you, I like your friend said, I mean, every time I stopped to get gas and in between, I was hydrating. And I found something that I just fell in love with and I never thought, and that's coconut water. If you have not tried it, I tell you, now everybody's body is different. So I can drink room temperature water, but I can drink good cold water. And I don't know if it's something about the material, the minerals in, but coconut water tastes colder than regular tap water, but without that chill against your teeth. When you drink something real cold, for me, sometimes I was chugging it down, but it was ice cold going down my throat. But it was so soothing. It didn't bloat me. But the only thing was, the first time I bought it, I was in a little town and I stopped in a Walmart and they had it. And every stop after that I found it was in a convenience store at a gas station, and they had these canned versions. Never again. So I just stocked up on some. I got it in there, but it's the one in the carton for me that I like the best. The cans, for some reason, I don't know, they just didn't. I drank them, but they didn't taste the same. But I tell you, coconut water ain't nothing nice. I mean, I didn't have to put the electrolytes in it or anything, so I just chugged it down. But I mean, it was $3.48 for 32 ounces, but it was well worth those 32 ounces, man.
See, for me, I like the Wildberry Propel. And I know one thing I do when I'm doing the long distance riding is I got a cooler that fits perfectly on my back seat. It's a Ozark brand, this thick in insulation. So I'd take like, say, 6 bottles of Propel. And then the night before I'm leaving, I would go put like 6 water bottles in my freezer and freeze them and use those water bottles basically as my ice block as they thaw out. Then I would drink those and I kind of alternate. And, I had a 32-ounce hydro flask I'd keep full, and, my cup holder, or depending time of year, it fits perfect in the pocket of my soft lowers. And, I'm big time on, excuse me, the hydration. And, going down the road, I'm constantly drinking fluids, and especially, I can only imagine your climate, down in Texas, you guys get a lot hotter. Ooh. But for us, as we go east out of Washington, you get into the high desert, eastern Washington, Idaho, Montana, those areas. I mean, it gets warm, and, I'm a born and bred Northwest guy. When it's above 70, man, it's warm. You hit the 80s and 90s, and like, Jesus, sweating. And, it's just always something I've, been careful about, is making sure that I'm drinking plenty of fluids and whatnot as I'm riding. Just whether, you don't realize you start sweating, you can start getting sick, you get heat stroke or something like that. So it's just, one of them lessons I learned and advice I took to heart.
Yeah, and that's one thing. I think it's pronounced Joa. The one we were talking about earlier out of Florida. Joa says his motto on his we got our stickers. His sticker says, "Know your bike, know your body." And I took that to heart because I used to in my younger days I pushed myself, but after I got cancer and I beat cancer, my wife, and that's thankful. I'm so grateful because I learned to okay, Carl, your body's trying to tell you something. That I don't get hard. I don't get me wrong. I've made mistakes and pushed myself a little bit too far, but most times I stop, slow it back down. But it's so crazy. I never thought about buying a cooler and putting it on because there's nobody rides on the back. My back right behind my backrest is empty. I'm gonna buy me a little igloo cooler, and that's what I'm gonna start using. Thanks to you.
Yeah, and it works great. Like the size I bought that, from Walmart, the Ozark doubles as a great backrest. It's about as tall as my tour pack, but it got plenty of support. It's hard shelled, and no, it's a great cooler, and that's what I use it for. Even throw some jerky, little snacks in there too, to munch on. But just looking, Joa, I'm gonna probably pronounce his last name wrong, Mendonca.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my guy. Yeah, man, that dude is he be right now. He can ride too, man. He can burn up some miles, man. That's the thing. I mean, my goal one day, I want to do a 1,500 bun burner goal, but for one, like I said, I don't think I ride fast enough. If I say this 73, 75, I might get close,
You
but
got
I
to
may do
average
it.
63 miles an hour for the entire ride, including your stop. So, yeah, it's on my radar. I haven't done a bun burner gold either. I would like to, but I got done the standard bun burners. I've got a
Yeah, I
couple of
did
those.
that.
I've came close to a silver, but didn't, and I wasn't trying for it either.
Right. Yeah. So for me, winter months are better. I ride much better in the winter. I have my heated gear and stuff, so I think if I do it, I probably would do it some in the winter. My thing is about riding overnight. If I was to do it, it'd have to be on the interstate. I need to see. I don't want to be where there's no. I don't want the chance of some deer jumping out on me or something like that. But it's a goal of mine. It's not. I mean, it's not. Oh, I'm gonna die if I don't do it. The other one that I really, really want to do is a 50cc. I want to do cross country 50cc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I want to do. I talked to I don't know how many IBA rides you have, but Doug is one of the verifiers, and he called me today, man. And I tell you, that's a class A operation. And like I told him, my mileage was a little off because I had started my clock at a different point, and he was real understanding and explaining it to me, told me about the mile leader program. But because I had nested, and he was like, "Well, only one counts." I'm like, "Yeah, I really just wanted the certificate." But he was very thorough in explaining to me how things work and how to do this and how to do that. I thought that was pretty cool because he could have easily like, "Well, we have you at this. This is what our software says." But he worked with me. We talked it out. Like I told him, like, "Look, man, the integrity of the IBA meant more to me than me getting a certificate. And if you tell me that I didn't make it, hey, I'm okay with that. I'll go do it another time." But we talked. He was like, "Yeah, you got this." I mean, and here's what happened. When I got my gas receipt, I went I was using Reverend McGorman and I used my Google Maps. And my Google Maps had took me left and was going to take me up to 210 in California, which took me up north and then bring me back around to catch our 10. I'm like, wait a minute, I know 10 is right down there. But I went ahead and followed the GPS on my Google Maps. And I go, wait a minute, this ain't the way I came. I don't know how many miles I went, 10, 15 miles. So I U-turned, but that's what threw up my mileage was further because they go from that point at the gas station in Rialto straight to Fort Stockton. And my GPS went up and turned around and all that stuff. So my mileage it's just that their mileage to their didn't match up with what mine was. Wasn't too far off, but they wanted to know what I'd done. So once I explained, he was like, "Yeah, you're good." So I thought that was pretty cool. But I love the idea. How many certs do you have? If you could recollect.
I got 4 or 5.
Okay, about the same.
But it's funny you're talking about Doug. aka Doug Vance. That would have been milepost 118 if you want to go back, check that out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. But and that's one thing I learned when, riding with Frank Orlando. He was the one, that mentored me on my first IBR ride or, Iron Butt Association ride. And, that's when he gave me a good point is buffer yourself. It goes, give yourself at least 15, 20 extra miles just
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
those, they're going to look, and, your spot wall and GPS mileage. And he goes, it's always good to, pad yourself just a little bit because, their mileage might come out a little different, how they, their computers and all their mapping stuff they use to verify your ride. And it's, I learned it's important, give yourself just a few extra miles just to pad it just for those instances.
yeah. That's what he told me. He said, do not, if you don't do nothing, just ride around the block a few more times or whatever. I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I mean, generally now the 1500 because like I said, nested the 1500. I was more than I knew because I like rid the crap out of that. I rode it all the way into Houston, and I'm on the north side of town coming in from the west. So I was pretty confident on that, which I had no issues. But it was sneaking, that 1,000 mile went in because like when I got to Fort Stockton, I remember stopping, and then right there at Fort, I was at 994. But my hotel was like right down the street. And I remember going to get something to eat. But yeah, like I say, it was where I love the IBR. IBA. That's another dream of mine. Maybe, I don't know. IBR is a dream. And I wouldn't say it's out of my range. It's just I need to get out there and do some miles. I need to do some 1,500, because I know they're doing on average 1,000 miles. Have you ever done an IBR yourself?
No, I've never, no, not the IBR. I
No.
mean, just, IBA rides. Yes. But
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
I'm not like you. It's, maybe someday a goal to see if I, get accepted or, I think it's one of those tests to see, do you have in the tank? Can you do something? Those type challenges.
That's
It's,
it. Yeah.
I
That's
think it's
it.
more of a personal challenge to an individual also. And, it's like you look at this year, the people that started as opposed to how many finishers, I think there was like what, 55, 56 finishers and over 100 that started.
Yes.
Of course,
Yeah.
some
I
of
heard
those,
this.
you had technical problems, mechanical issues, but, it's not something that's very easy to accomplish and to
No.
finish. It's a
No. It's
quite
it's
the
a
ride.
it's a doozy. It's a hard ride. And I didn't know how it ran, but I speaking to different people that they had certain rides. You could do the loop, you could do the 11. I think the 11-day one was you got to go through 42 state capitals. And I think somebody had done a nice write-up about theirs. It was one of my friends, just remember who it was. He thought he had missed a stop. It was in Jackson, Mississippi, capital of Mississippi. Comes to find out though, he'd actually missed Vermont as well. So, you know, but was it Doug? Stubner, Nate Stubner. I think that's who it was. I think it was Nate. But I mean, it's and that's the one thing I love about rallies. Reading is fundamental. You
Oh,
can
for
read.
sure.
Reading is like look the wrong way. That's how he got his name, going the wrong, going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah. So, if you don't mind, we talk. When is the 79? When is our 79? Because I saw somebody advertise. Maybe they're just doing their fundraising. Because I got to get my fundraising together for my 79. But that starts in
Oh,
July.
the Monster 79?
Yeah,
Uh that starts really soon.
yeah. It's coming up.
Yeah, I'll see if I can. Yeah, because I'm week 3, so I think it might already be going right now. Because
I
week
think yeah,
3
because
and
I know
I'm
somebody. I
June.
can't remember who had posted it, but um, I think I'm the last day. I think I'm the last week. Me and like I say, Chris Abbott and a couple other people. I'm on their team, but I'm so looking forward. The first time I was gonna do it, that's when me and Wrongway were doing a 1,000 mile, and I went up in the ER in Waco for not hydrating right. Funny story. Gotta tell you this one, because Wrong Way, man. I'm telling you, Wrong Way, you're the right way, dude. So now, mind you, Wrong Way has an auxiliary tank on his bike.
Yeah.
So the first issue we had was I almost ran out of gas. Okay, because I realized I don't have an auxiliary tank. But when because we were, he can go longer. I'm not drinking correctly, and so we go out. It's hot. We go all the way. We get to Waco, right outside of Waco, actually, and we stop at a little gas station. I'm so dehydrated that when I go inside into this AC, my body literally goes into shock. So I walk back outside, sit down on the curb to kind of gather myself, and the next thing you know, I'm laying sideways looking at it. I can laugh about it now, but I'm looking the wrong way and I'm laying like this here. And he's like, "Are you all right?" And I go, "I don't know, man. I don't feel so good." So he winds up. They call the ambulance. They call the ambulance. He's on the phone with, he's on the phone with who was he on the phone with that day? I can't remember who it was. Man, Nathan McGuire. It was Nathan
Oh,
McGuire,
Sparks.
Sparks, because we left. Sparks came and got my bike. I picked my bike up at Sparks' house. I sure did. Never forget that. Yep, my wife and sister and them had to bring me back to go pick up my bike. And again, we go back to that family, man. That community, that love for the fellow biker. That there are no questions. People don't ask questions. They just do it. They don't. They react. They don't say, "Oh, it's Karl. I don't like him." They just jump into action and get it done. And that's the beauty of it, man.
I know. I'm trying to see when the heck. I know the Monster 79 starts really soon. Yeah, that's. Let's see. I'm week 3. I got Hopper. I think Wrong Way's on my team. Jason Sir.
You got Jason on your
fun.
team too?
And the fun is like everybody can put your own. Yeah. Hopefully he'll be healed up more.
I know, man. That dude's
after
he's
his little
a beast,
ordeal with
man.
his foot.
Yeah, he's a beast though, man. My first time meeting him in person was at Hop's rally one year. And I'll be honest with you, I was so intimidated by him until he started talking to me. Because, he kind of like, he knew me. He was like, "Hey, Karl." And I'm like, because to me, he was larger than life. He's out there doing stuff. And I'm going, wow, that's Jason Setzer, that's Iceman. And but we spoke, man, and we talked for a little bit. And, it was so cool. I mean, it's funny, for me, I meet guys, I consider my icons. I mean, K Solo. I remember when I first started seeing him, he was on YouTube and, he was out in the wilderness camping and everything. And I'm like, and then he used to do a little thing. He would stop on the road and do his little interviews with people. And I meet him in person and I'm like, yeah, you remember those, right? And I'm thinking, wow. And it's funny because they're just like me. But I still look at them in awe. I'm not gonna lie, man. Still K Solo, Shaquilla the Mileage Bully, Wrong Way, Hop. So Hopper is so funny to me. So I get on Rever, the app, right? And every year Rever has this mileage challenge. So the first year I decided to do it, like first month, there's this guy named Chris Hopper, and he's at like 9,000 miles. And I'm like, how the hell is he doing that? He got to be cheating. I see he said starts July 13th.
Yeah.
So I'm like, who is this guy? And then I find out he lives here in Houston. And I meet him I did his rally one year. It was a year Ben Ernst was my sponsor, Big Ben. It was pretty cool. Yeah, man. Have you met Ben? Have you met Ben?
Yeah, Ben was he's about 30 mileposts back.
Okay. So, man, when I met Big Ben, when he walked out of the hotel and to the parking lot when I met him, I was like, this is a big dude. So, Ben was the reigning champ for Hop's rally. And so I'm like, okay, I got to keep up with this guy. I don't want him to be last. I don't want to be second place. I don't want to be anything but first. So we're riding, and I'm making these rookie mistakes, taking the wrong picture, because Hop is a tricky character, man, with his rally. So, you got to have both eagles in the picture, and so I took a wrong picture, and man, Ben lit me up. You got to get this shit right. I'm like, oh, and I said, look, man, I don't want to slow you down. You go on and go on, and I'll finish. He was like, nope, we started together, we're gonna finish together. So we still burning. So here's the thing. That year, I know you heard the year about the rally flag being big as a beach towel.
Yeah.
Okay, it was that year. I lost that flag, didn't I? I lost the flag. I didn't secure my tour pack. We had made the stop at the old post office in Junction, Texas, and we left, and that's where my flag must have come out. So we get to the next stop. I have no flag. So we got a call. Hop says, well, you're going to lose some points, but go ahead and finish. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to finish. Had I had that flag, I'm a second place finisher. But since I don't have that flag, I lost 30,000 points. And Joe Mears on a Vespa beat me. So that's the running joke. Every year we go to that rally, don't let a Vespa beat you, Carl. And he beat me again last year.
Yeah, that's too good. It's funny you talk about some of the, getting to meet some of these people, that we've all seen in the community. I got a chuckle the first time I had Solo on. This was actually before I named a milepost in the very beginning. Messing because I'd been following him online forever. Shot a message and I was on cloud nine, like, holy crap, this is awesome. Talk to Solo, and so we trade numbers. He shoots me his number, and I knew that he lived on the East Coast. I'm like, that's a Washington area code number, and I got to talking to him about it. He's like, oh yeah, because he's former military and was stationed at Fort Lewis. He's like, I just never changed the number, and I just chuckled. It's like, man, that's kind of funny. It's kind of my home area code in a way, and it was just one of the little chuckles.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But actually got a good question here. Somebody chimed in. I'm sorry I missed, conversation gets going. It's hard. I get sidetracked. Squirrel. But guy want to know, how long did you plan your Route 66 ride? Which I know you
Jorge,
just
that's my
finished.
Jorge, that's my he's local. About a year, Jorge. So what I did was I call myself a Google master. If it's on Google, I'll find it. So I Google Route 66 on a motorcycle. Bam. There's a website called Historic Route 66, right? So I clicked them, and then I started, grabbing spots. And then there was one. So inside of, just doing Route 66, Oklahoma has the Oklahoma passport. And then Texas has the 66 album. Arizona has one. And that was it. So I wound up sending off for their things, because Oklahoma, you get a little booklet and you get it stamped. Texas, I had to buy this. It's an album, vinyl. And you stop at it's 9 locations, and they give you this gold coin, and it fits off in the it's like a poker chip. So I did that. And then I did the Arizona one, but that one's online. It's on your phone, actually. Arizona, Route 60. Oh, so here we go. You're not gonna be able to see it. It's gonna be a washout. But Route 66 is on here. It's a little menu. But anyway, so I did that. But then I just started, doing Google searches like in each little area. And then Reef said, hey man, SCMA has a Route 66 ride. You can do it in 2 legs. East to west, west to east. You do Chicago to Adrian, Texas, and then Adrian on to Santa Monica, or vice versa. I was like, wow, okay. I'm going to do both legs. So when I submit my paperwork, I'll be the 7th SCMA rider to do both legs. Because you don't have to do both legs. You can do one or the other. So while I was doing that, somebody else reached out to me. A motorcycle club had one, so I started doing theirs as well. So inside of doing my Route 66 ride, I wound up doing 4 different challenges at the same time. I don't advise doing that again. That's just not, that's the stupidest thing. Just do one, or just do the ride itself. Because I'll be honest with you, Denver, and everybody watching, Oklahoma was a blur. Because Oklahoma, I had the Oklahoma passport, which had 48 stops in that state. 48 stops in Oklahoma. So every time I got on the bike, I was stopping, taking a picture. Got to get this, got to get a stamp. So eventually I was like, man, this is getting old. I was doing, I was trying to do the SCMA. They only had like, SCMA total is only like 24 stops, or maybe, I don't know, maybe a little more than that. But, it was much easier because they were spread out. Oklahoma was one after another. So when we finally got to Texas, I was just happy, man. I was happy as a lark, because those 9 that I had to get in Texas were spread out. And I only had to get 2 in Texas for the SCMA, which was Big Texan and Adrian, Texas. I had to take a picture on the east side of the sign and a picture on the west side of the sign. And then on into New Mexico I go. So, but yeah, planning it, man. I mean, and I was on Facebook. There's Historic Route 66 on Facebook and some other ones. And I saw people posting about the Giants, the Gemini Giants. You remember the big muffler men? The big tall guys?
I think
Again, I
so.
can't show you. I was born in the 60s. So back in the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, gas stations used to have these big old guys. They called them muffler men. And they would be in front of gas stations and they be holding the gas can or something like that. Well, there's still some of them around. And Illinois has the most. They actually have a small town. I can't remember the name of Atlanta, Illinois has an entire like 3 city block area. There's nothing but these giants. At a place I had lunch at, they have a waitress. She's like the tallest woman in the town. And she used to be a giant and they changed her physique. But there's a whole bunch. They had a Viking. They got the one I liked the most was in right outside Bloomington, Illinois. He's called the Gemini Man. He's like a space guy. He's got a green suit and he's holding a big old rocket. So that was my favorite of all of them. I think I got like 12, maybe 15 different pictures of the Gemini Man. That's what they call it. Muffler Man is what they call them. And if you look on Roadside America, that's a website I use as well while I did the Route 66. They show them where they are. You can actually click on the Muffler Man and they show up everywhere in the United States because they're all over. So those are pretty good. I found things of interest for me, little things that most people would miss or not think about that I wanted to do.
Well, it makes, your whole point of your ride more personal to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What do you think was your favorite memory from your Route 66 ride?
Okay. Favorite memory. Okay, so favorite memory would be this couple. While I was taking my picture of the Gemini Man, I had lost my tripod. And I was using a monopod that had little legs ready to climb up on. Yeah, that coconut water is good, man.
I felt like Gilligan.
Yeah, he said he tried the coconut water, man.
Yeah.
Tell you that coconut water is good. So the favorite memory, again, this was in Bloomington. No, not Bloomington. Anyway, I lost my tripod. And so I'm trying to set the camera up. And this couple walks every day. And they're used to seeing riders come through. And they said, hey, can we take your picture for you? And I was like, yeah. So they're taking the picture. And then we get to conversing and we're talking. And they're like, where you from? And I told them, he's like, wow. And I told them I was doing like, well, no, we don't never hear. Usually guys will say they're just, riding through and they're doing this and that. Never anybody going the whole in on it, right? I'm like, yeah. And I said, well, you know what? I got a thing to ask you guys. I said, if you talk to me or help me, you got to take a picture with me. And they said, we would love to. And we took a picture. And then the conversation just kept going after that. And they said, well, we don't want to hold you up. I said, no, I don't want to hold you up. And I tell people, we know what climate we live in, right? We know the world we live in. Everybody wants to make it an us versus them. And at that moment in time, they didn't care what I looked like. They didn't care that I wrote. We were just having fun talking. We wound up talking for almost 30-something minutes, And I could have easily said, oh, they're holding me up, but I didn't because it was the fact that 2 people that didn't know me took the time out to embrace me and were engaged in conversation with me. So really, that was the most memorable moment for my ride. Because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to meet people. I told my daughter, when my daughter said, because here's what my daughter asked me. My kids think that every time I'm talking to somebody, I already know them. And I go, no. And she said, Dad, Poppy, my daughter calls me, she says, Poppy, all those people you took pictures with, did you know them? And I go, no. When I took the picture, I met them. I told her the story. I told them, if you talk to me or you help me, you got to take a picture with me. I said, and it broke the ice. Wendy's people were talking to me. They ordered food and stopped by my table to say, good luck on your ride and da-da-da-da. Frank, I had to stop it. Folks, if you've never been to Uranus Fudge Factory, you got to go because
that just doesn't sound right.
Listen, Denver, look, man, every clerk in that store they're throwing out these little Uranus euphemisms. I mean, like, Uranus is cold. I mean, just throwing crazy stuff out there. And matter of fact, man, it's upstairs. I wish they actually have a little newsletter that they give you. And mine is upstairs. I'm framing mine. That was the coolest place, man. I bought about 4 or 5 little trinkets out of there, but it was cool, man. To hear them say these little quips just through, I mean, I'm barreled over laughing because everybody I pass has something to say, Don't forget to clean Uranus. You know, I mean, they said all kind of wild stuff. It's in St. Roberts, Missouri. The best fudge comes from Uranus. Yeah, man. You've never been
It
there?
goes along. What's that?
You've never been to Uranus?
No.
Oh man,
I've never been that far east yet.
You've never been that far east? Oh man, it's
No.
hilarious, and it's all lit up. It's so when you pass it, you actually have to get off, go back, and then ride we call them the feeder roads here. I don't know what they call them. I don't know if y'all even have them out west, but you ride along a frontage road that rides along the main road, and it's up on its own little hill. It's got a bunch of stuff up there, and they got the factory, the fudge factory, the store itself. They got something else, and then they got something about because I took a picture of it. I'm gonna read to you what it says. Let me see if I can find the picture real quick. I'm putting my glasses on, folks. I'm not wearing the glasses because they cause a glare, but let me see if I can find this picture. I'm gonna read to you what it says because
It's funny when you find the picture. Going back, how you talking about? You meeting people, taking pictures. Kind of reminds me of, similar with Go Home Ken in his book when he meets people and he has them sign his book. And I think he said he's got like 5 or 6 of them now.
Okay.
And a similar deal. I know when I first got to meet him at the 22 Hokahay and I signed his book. And
yeah,
no, it's another cool little memory piece that you can keep with you forever.
So here you go. So it says, so the sign says, missing a pair of balls. If found, please return to Putt Pirates Mini Golf. The more balls in Uranus, the more fun for everyone. I'm telling you, dude. This one here, they got a circus show. It says world's largest slideshow museum, the Tattoo Girl. They got so much at that little place, man. It's crazy. So my daughter Kimba says that the big muffler men, she said they call some people in some areas they call them the Paul Bunyans. So every little area has a name for those muffler men, but that's what they were called in the 60s and 70s, called the muffler men. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, Uranus, man, that place is amazing. It's funny. And I took a picture right before I got to the fudge factory, Uranus. I took a picture of the world's largest rocking chair. Yeah, so I got that picture as well. So I found some neat sites to go to.
Give me a straight out of Uranus.
Straight out of Uranus
Turbo.
That's
Turbo.
Awesome. That's cool. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. Man, I still hate that I never finished my ride for Turbo. I was doing the Saddle Sore 1000. No, I did do that. That wasn't the same for that was different. That was the mile. I did my ride for Turbo. Took the pictures and everything. That was pretty cool. I remember doing that. But yeah, man, I love the riding. The Mile Monsters thing snuck up on me, and Wrong Way was like a huge catalyst. I just have a great love and admiration for Wrong Way. I could tell you. So, it's funny that you'll be out there riding and you don't know that people are really paying attention to you because they don't post every day on your post. They just follow you, right? So I told you, we go to Ben Hurst. He won the Ride to Eat that year. So we're going to celebrate him. I walk in. There's my girl Twister, Hop, his wife, Catherine, Wrong Way, and a couple other people, but I don't know Wrong Way by face. So I remember seeing, we Facebook friended me, but he says, "Hey, Carl, how you doing, man? It's Wrong Way." And I'm like, oh, but he kept engaging me in conversation throughout that, we're sitting there and I'm going, that's pretty cool, because I don't know this guy, but he's taking the time out to truly engage me. He truly engaged me that day. And we've been locked ever since, man. We've been locked ever since.
I remember the first time I met Wrong Way in person. I was my wife and I had the opportunity. We went to Sturgis to work for Wild Ass in 23. Yeah, I think that was 24. Yeah, 24 maybe. I can't remember. They all blend together. But me and Craig Johnson and them. God, my wife Amy might have went too. But we're going down to the booth set up at JP in Sturgis, and he came in like the middle of the night and was sleeping, in the parking lot right at the booth, waiting for us to get there.
Man, that's the thing. Wrong Way will sleep anywhere. I remember following him on one of his rides. Then he was at truck stop, and he was just throwing the mat down or just laying on the ground going to sleep. You mentioned JP. You're talking about JP Cycles, right?
Yeah.
So funny thing about that, on my 48 state ride Where do I wind up? At the main facility. What state is it in? Is it in Iowa? No, it's not. It's not in Iowa, is it? Where is it?
Oh, their big store. The main one might be. It's somewhere in the Midwest. I might be in Iowa.
Yeah. I come around this turn and I see these big signs, JP Cycles, and I had matter of fact, the tires I was riding on, I bought from JP Cycles. So I said, let me U-turn this and see if this is the place. I pulled in, man. They welcomed me. They were such a nice group of people at that place. I grabbed some shine stuff to keep my bike clean out there and a couple of things.
No, that wasn't what I meant. Maybe it was.
In trouble.
I couldn't remember if you came down to Sturgis. We're working at Sturgis one with me, not if you were there. No,
I'm not in that. Miss Woods, I ain't in that. He don't remember. Don't kill him, please. Not wait till after the show.
You better go lock the door.
Yeah, man, you better be looking over your eye. But yeah, man, this ride, like I said, this riding thing has been for me just, it's not only, I won't say therapeutic, I won't use that word. It's just when you're out there, when you're out there, man, like even on this last ride, I turned the music off and sometimes I just wanted to think. I thank God, first of all, that I get to do this because a lot of people don't. Either they're not here, they're health-wise, whatever. They might want to ride, but they can't. And so when I'm out there riding, I push myself sometimes, not beyond I say, okay, I'm riding for so-and-so, or, what if this person, could ride, and so, but there's a lot of them. I was telling a story, man, Arizona, if you haven't been, I'm sure you have been, but man, I didn't know. So you've been to Oakland? Have you been to Oakland before, the Donkeys?
No.
So Oakland, Arizona, it's a town that sits at the base of a hill, a mountain, truly a mountain. Because I went up like 15 miles. I got up to 8,000 elevation, and you go back down and you wind up into Oakland. Well, the donkeys there are direct descendants of the donkeys that were there during the mining era, and the miners left their ancestors. So these donkeys just roam the street. Well, it was one of the checkpoints that you have to do for this SCMA. So anyway, I ride in it, but on the way in is what, like I say, literally, I live in Texas. I got a nice green yard, backyard and all that. And I'm riding through this Arizona, as I'm going up, and I'm in a little town, and you see the houses, none of them have central air. They're all window units, and their yards are nothing but sand and dirt. They got fences around it. And I thought to myself, I said to them, that's home. And I go, wow. I said, what we take for granted, like, central air and all that stuff. And they were like, the nearest store to them was a Family Dollar. And I'm pretty sure they probably thought that was like a super Walmart. Because I rolled in there. That's where I got me some water from. And they were just the friendliest people. But it's those moments that make me appreciate the ride that much more. Because I see some things that the average human being won't ever get to see because they don't ever get outside of their, off the main highway, or they don't ride like we do. When you're in a car, you're not going to go to Oakland. I mean, unless you just know about Oakland and you want to go see it. But on this bike ride, man, I saw some pretty amazing things. I also saw a bunch of them little dust storms popping up, and they kind of scared me because I didn't know if one would turn into a tornado. So
yeah, if you would call those the dust devils.
Dust devils, okay. Yeah, I watched a few of them pop up over there. I'm like, that's pretty doggone cool. See, look, dude, you still in the doghouse because Amy is still going, you better watch it, man. Amy is not happy. Hey, Amy, he Blake, he's okay. He remembers you were there. You were there. Don't hurt it. Don't hurt it, Amy, please. But no, man.
Like, you talk about that. The other thing, that you travel these back roads, you go to these different places, and, one of the things that always seems to step in my mind is like one time it was actually my first ever 1,000-mile ride. And I, because I'm going through areas that's unfamiliar, much like you, I'm a Google Maps guy. It's like, cool, I'm going to get fuel this town. I'm getting fuel here. And I hit Coeur d'Alene. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get, my gas stops here and Google Maps. Well, this truck cuts me off. I'm like, shit, can't get that exit. I was like, I'll get the next one. Lo and behold, that was the last exit into Coeur d'Alene. And I'm like, there's got to be something coming up. Well, then you start rolling all them little passes outside Coeur d'Alene, and all of a sudden, my gas gauge comes on, gas light. I'm like, shit. And I come down this, down this little pass. see a sign, Lake Ross General Store, and I see a gas pump sign on. I'm like, oh fuck, thank God. And pulling there, it's like, 2 gas pumps, middle of nowhere, and I'm getting fuel. And this older guy, late 70s, comes up and his overalls and sees the motorcycle, and he goes, oh, I used to ride back then. He starts telling me stories, and it just, to me, it's like, you can meet the neatest people. Or you look at the other aspect, how many times have you pulled into a gas station where it should be a 1-minute fill up because you just want to gas and go, but you meet somebody and that gas stop turns into 5-10 minutes, but you made a friend and got to hear some cool stories, and somebody in a way got to live vicariously through you because of, you're out doing what we like doing on a motorcycle. And, they used to do that way back when, or, traveled. And it's another cool aspect that, I look at as, you get off those beaten paths and, you go see middle America, the back roads, and you get to meet some of the neatest people.
I'm home. I'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
Okay. Oh, man. Hey, all you guys tuning, man, thank you so much for following along and, listen to, these mileposts and, build new friendships with people, and we get to hear other stories and adventures. And to me, this is just, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy this.
All right, so I actually have to correct myself on the most memorable moment. You just brought it up to me or reminded me. So I go Houston. I stop in Lafayette to give a certificate to my buddy Jimmy Brown because he had like 13 mile markers, 73 markers. So I wanted to give him his certificate in person. Stopped in, left there. I go to Leonard Skinner. I'm going to go to Leonard Skinner, get my Harley thing because that's one of the 15 rides for 2025. And then I go into Memphis, and a Marine buddy of mine, man, Michael Steven, he might be watching, he may not, but this dude, hotel, takes me out. My money ain't no good. It's my Marine brother. So I leave Memphis and I go, Metropolis. I want to go to Metropolis. I want to see Superman. So I change my little route and I go. Well, when I leave the Superman statue, I stopped at a Walgreens to get some water. I go inside, I come back out. There's an old gentleman parked next to me in a truck, just like you said. And he's like, yeah, I used to ride. Then he talks about he had fallen off the bike one time. He's like, I ain't never been on a bike since that day. He gets in his truck. I'm, sorting out my stuff, getting my water. He opens up the door and he says, God told me to do this. He hands me the penny with the cross in it. It's been punched through, right? And then he says these words to me. First of all, he puts the penny in my hand and presses it down with his thumb. And he said, Jesus is the 1 cent. And when I thought about those words, 1 cent, C-E-N-T versus S-E-N-T, the 1 cent. And I go, thank you, sir. Man, I cried at that very moment. He gave me a hug. He got back in his truck and he rode off. But I put that on my keychain at that very moment. And it's the second time it's happened to me on a ride. The first time was on a 48 state ride. I'm in a little town. I'm headed to, if you've never been, you say you haven't been that far east, but in Indiana, they have a town called Santa Claus, Indiana. And that's where I was headed. But I stopped to get gas. And that day, on that ride, I had my Marine Corps vest. So I had my riding vest on. It has a Marine Corps patch on it. He says, you served? I said, yes, sir. He says, I got something for you. Goes in his truck, comes back, and he has an enamel cross pin. Puts it in my hand. He says, when you get a chance, put it on. I said, sir, I'm going to put that on right now. And I said, God has been with me this whole ride, so I'm going to carry him a little further. And I pinned it right here. He said, nobody's ever done that before. And he embraced me and gave me a hug. And so it's the second time that, people have blessed me. And I'm always grateful when people stop and pray for me because, we're all sinners. But for me, the gentleman that gave me this, because, he could have easily just ridden off and never said a word to me. He's just another biker. But, he says that he was moved to do it. So I'll always remember this. So when I think about what was the most memorable moment, I have to say that this was it. This little penny right here, the 1 cent. So, sorry, there we go.
I like it. That's really cool.
Yeah, man. That was a cool event. That was a cool time. And there were other moments like that. and I've talked about it this morning, and I've talked about it. I actually posted about it, and I don't know if this is the right venue, but if I had one bad moment, it was actually in Tulsa, and it was, you know, I kept hearing people say, "Man, you got to go to." It's called Black Tulsa. If you've never heard of it, it's Black Wall Street. It was in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Blacks had, make their own little community, and then it was bombed in the 1920s. I forgot what year. I think 1921. And anyway, so it's historical now. Well, anyway, one of the stops on this Route 66 ride was this place called Black Uprising. So for me, I thought, okay, when I go in here, because it's on this Oklahoma passport, they're gonna say, oh, because all the other places that I stopped on there, oh, you're doing the Route 66. It's got to be hot in that riding suit, and that can't even get you some water. And I go in here, those people look like I thought maybe I had boo boo on me. They didn't acknowledge me. They didn't say, well, where you from, or you want to sign our booklet. I got my stamp and I was out, and that was probably the most disappointing, stop I had. And I don't want to make it about race. I just didn't expect it. I'll just be honest with you. I just didn't expect it. And, but it was made up for because my next stop, I'm a big movie buff. Have you ever seen the movie Outsiders?
Yes.
Well, I stopped at the house where it was filmed. It's on the Route 66 passport for Oklahoma. And it's a museum now. So you stop in there and I got my little stamp there. So it's pretty cool. Actually, they were closed, but I stopped there and I had to take a picture. That's right. They were closed. But it's a museum now, but it sits right on the corner. And I love that movie. I watched it like 20,000 times. So that was a big plus for me, was to actually pull up and see the house where Outsiders was filmed. That was a good movie. It was a good movie. So
I think it's fun, dude. Just for me, is doing the run, because I love history. History is something I enjoy, and it's like this weekend. Wife and I, we had no plans. We were just gonna hang at home, for the 4th of July weekend, and then lo and behold, we enjoy camping, so we bought our camp trailer. We go, well, shoot, we've had our trailer for 16 months. I think we spent 32 weekends in a camping, and so I had some notifications set up, and like Wednesday evening, get this email, hey, spots opened up at Fort Ward. I'm like, hey, want to go camping? Which is a dumb question, because of course she does. And we enjoy it. It's fun. So we booked a place. So we went and stayed at it actually used to be a World War II base down in Port Townsend. So we stayed right down by the bunkers, and it was fun. Even had, I don't know. Here's the weird one. We're sitting in our campsite, and we're across from the restrooms. And, this is an old, World War II base from the 40s. It used to be thousands. I think it housed 4,500 people, 5,000. And we're sitting there, having a beer outside, and all of a sudden the water faucet turns itself on over at the bathrooms. It's one, faucet, you got to crank it. Nobody had been over at that bathroom for like a half hour, and all of a sudden water starts just spraying out of the faucet. And I'm looking at her, she's looking at me, I'm like, okay, this is weird. And I went over there, and literally it turned like a quarter turn open. She's like, pressure do that? I'm like, it's like a hose, but I'm like, there's no way, just normal garden hose pressure is gonna push that valve to turn open. It was weird. I'm not saying to believe spirits and all this, but that was a very weird moment.
That was gonna be my next question. Do you believe in spirits?
It was, it was weird. I'm like, that's
I don't know if I would have stuck
around.
For it. I can't say I would have stuck around. I don't play.
Oh, we did. We stayed in. That was day 2 there. But yeah, it was weird.
Man, yeah. For me, I made sure that I got into every location except when I got into Santa Monica. That's a story in itself. So when I come out of Arizona, I was in Topac, Arizona. I go into Needles, California. So after Needles, my first stop for the Route 66 is for the SMA is it's called Amboy. Well, the thing was, I had seen an Amboy further in towards Santa Barbara. Where was I headed? Santa Barbara? No, not Santa Barbara. San Bernardino. Anyway.
Oh, my wife. And then he keeps talking about it, and I'm like, you need to shut up. I just trying to be nice. And she's like, you need to shut the fuck up. She goes, we don't need to bring this home. Just shut up and quit talking. I was like, hey, no, we're just hanging out,
So anyway, here's a long story short. I had put my stops in Google Maps wrong. So I go grab the first picture, and in my head, knowing I thought as close as I was, it was only gonna be like 17 miles. I had to backtrack 52 miles.
Oh,
So I had to go back up North California. So by the time I came back down those same 52 miles, the sun was starting to set. By the time I got to Santa Monica, it was dark. And so the pier was closed. Santa Monica Boulevard, that place was like packed like sardines. My buddy Big Mike, 610, was waiting for me, thank God. And we pulled, we talked a bit. He got a picture for me. But and that ride in there, that was wicked. I hate making mistakes, but that's one of those, I should have checked my GPS points a little bit further apart, but I didn't. I made a snafu, because I would have got into Santa Monica like 4:30, but which if you never, I'm sure you've been through California traffic. That stuff is no joke. That stuff is no joke. And I'm gonna tell you something. Now, you may be comfortable with it. I was not comfortable with lane splitting.
Okay, so I got my education on that 2 years ago. Went down 3 years ago for Turbo's birthday. Me, Frank Orlando, Michael Nielsen, Andrea Tooney, we're all going down there, and we get down close to LA. Of course, traffic's horrible. I'd never lane split before. Lane splitting, lane sharing, however people want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
We get in traffic, and the cars are, kind of parting out of the way, and I'm looking in my mirrors like, is there, emergency vehicle coming? I'm looking for lights and sirens, and Michael Nielsen pulls up. He goes, hey, they're moving out of the way for you. I'm like, say what? He's like, it's California, man. He goes, they're used to it. He's like, you ready? I'm like, I guess so. I don't know. Let's see how this goes. And it was an education. It's, I guess, down there where, society and everybody, they're used to it. So, I mean, most of the cars are going to somewhat get out of your way, but it was definitely weird, because it's not legal up here in Washington. I was, that's the first time I'd ever done it. And so it was a different education. Now, once we coming back home the next day, we got to Portland, and like we hit shit traffic in Portland. And at that point, my mind's like, dude, I just wish we could hit the center. I just want to go. Because it's amazing how much time, though, it can save you in California.
And that big time. The first time I did it was on my 4-day trip. A guy, Kevin Poley, met me in Oakland, and we rode. We went down to the bridge, and he was in front of me, and they opened up. But on this one by myself, some cars spread and some didn't. So then when I'm having to kind of navigate, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I do back home. I got on that emergency lane and I took off. Now I got a ticket about 4 or 5 months ago here in Houston. I was on the HOV lane, and I saw it was backed up. And I'm going, man, I'm not gonna be stuck in no traffic. Come to find out, they do car checks, and that's what it was. So I had my auxiliary lights on, and they saw me from like a mile away. So as I got closer, that cop said, "Get on over," and I got a ticket. But he told me, he cut his camera off. He said, "Look, man, don't miss court. Go to court, because I'm not gonna show." So I go to court. He don't show, so it's off my record. But that's what I did in California. When I was on this ride, I didn't do that lane split because I wasn't comfortable. I just got over there. I said, well, if they let you lane split, they should let me ride the emergency lane. That was my thinking. And I made it. I cut some time off. But that lane splitting, like I said, maybe they just didn't want to move for me. But I don't know. That's some, because all you got is one car. If one car moves over, bam.
Yeah.
You can go down. So
yeah, I was nervous going by buses or like semis.
Oh, yeah.
Like, holy shit, I'm holding my breath. And it's like you see guys with sport bikes, they're
they're gone.
I'm like,
they're
dude, I'm on a full bagger. I'm like, boy, this it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but I got a little bit used to it. But yeah, I don't know. It's something to be determined later.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And but it does cut off a lot of time. That was another thing, I forgot, because Arizona doesn't switch their daylight saving. They're stuck on whatever. I think they're stuck in daylight saving. So, my phone had one time, but my bike had another time. And I'm thinking, well, what time am I really going to get into wherever I was going? And I'm like, oh, Lord. And so when it finally synced up, I was like, okay, good. I don't have to worry about this. And I didn't have an analog watch on. I usually have an analog watch on my arm. I would have known exactly what time it was, but for some reason I had taken it off. But yeah, I mean, one of the things I'm getting better at is packing for a ride. I didn't overpack this time. I actually packed the right amount of meds because I take blood pressure medication, I take arthritis medication, and I take one for cholesterol. So I take 2 every night, and then the one I take for arthritis, I took it every other day because my body's I'm weaned off it a little bit, but I still need it because I don't want my legs to cramp. I have neuropathy, whatever you call it when your leg. My wife says you look like a fish out of water. My legs be flinching at night, so I take it. But clothes wise, I washed clothes in St. Louis. I washed clothes again in Oklahoma. No.
So when you're doing these rides, are you a hotel every night? Or you camping? What's your
On
setup
this
like? What are you
ride,
doing?
it was hotels every night. Sometimes I camp. I've done the Michael wrong way. Under the trailer at the Love truck stop. I have a tent and stuff. I like to camp. My wife is not a fan of it, so sometimes I have to balance keeping her sane where she doesn't lose her mind and something might happen to me. The other side, me just wanting to enjoy my ride, which is I like to be out under the stars. So I do a little bit of both. On my 48 state trip, I camped a few times. I loved it. I camped in Durango, Colorado. That 40 degrees in Durango is different than 40 degrees in Houston. Big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had experience like that last year in Brothers, Oregon. Went to sleep. It was like 39-ish degrees. We woke up, it was like 31. I mean, I shouldn't
Woo!
say, we went to sleep. The plan was sleep at, I think we pulled in there like midnight. And, we're going to sleep till 3 or 4 in the morning. But that day, which was last year's Monsters Over Mountains, and we ended up riding for 8 hours in like a freaking monsoon downpour. Luckily, I mean, I took extra socks. So that night when we finally got, said we were all just tired and, the weather really slowed us down. But my feet were so damn cold. It's like I changed socks, but it's like, took the ones that were damp. My feet were all like, clammy, and I even put on, fresh, dry socks, but I couldn't get my feet warm. And I fucking couldn't sleep. When you're cold, even, I mean, had a 0-degree mummy bag and it still just wasn't working. And of course, my air mattress had decided to get a leak, and I went to shift and the air mattress went one way and I flew off the picnic table, hit my buddy who's sleeping in a hammock, scared the shit out of him about 1:30 in the morning. Oh yeah.
Did you see the big blister on my foot? The picture of the big blister?
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Okay. So let me explain that. I actually have a skin condition. I've had it since I was a kid. It's called epidermolysis bullosa. And what it is that
that's a tongue twister.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister. The top layer of my skin is very, very sensitive to friction. My boots, I've worn them so long that they're now broken in. So on a ride like this, I should have doubled up my socks and I wouldn't have had that. But I've gotten so used to it. It was like, it's healed like now. In the Marine Corps, I had a really bad bout with it. But that slowed me down a little bit, but it wasn't, it wasn't like detrimental. It wasn't super, super bad. But I want to tell people about the gas stop issue. I ran out of gas.
Okay. I've done that time or two.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It wasn't like I had a full tank of gas and I ran it and ran out of gas. No. When I was doing my ride and stopping to get the Route 66 stuff in Texas, I got the message from Becky, and Snacks had messaged me as well. Becky needs your help. So I dropped what I'm doing and I burned towards Becky. Becky's at mile marker 8, right before New Mexico. When I get to her, my reserve light comes on. So from there back to where we stayed at the hotel was roughly about 28 to 30 miles. So if you understand, now you do that math. So my reserve thing says I still have 26 gallons, 26 miles. I know that's not true. So I'll say, okay, I got at least 20. When I woke up the next morning, here I've got a decision to make. I pull out, and when I get to I-10, it says so-and-so 23 miles. I said, okay, I'll get gas there. I was right at a gas station. I could have got gas there, but no, I didn't. So when I go them 23 miles, when I get there, that gas station does not have premium. It's a little bitty podunk town. It ain't, It's not even a town, really. It's literally no longer a town, but that gas station is the only thing of a resemblance. And I'm like, I'm not putting regular unleaded. People talk, oh, you can ride it for. I'm not doing that. I'm not taking that chance. So at that point, I got 10 miles. That's what my bike says. So I say, God, it's gonna be me and you. I got to go back that way to get some gas. So I take off, but I run out of gas. But I immediately get on and I call roadside assistance. I didn't call Hog that time.
Okay. Time out. I got one for it.
Uh-oh, I know what he about to show me. Half-ass garage. Assholes, neighbor. What you got?
That's why I carry these babies.
So is that
1
the
liter
MSR?
fuel. No, these are from Lowbrower Customs. It's very similar, same style, same deal. But yeah, they're fuel reserve bottles. And generally, I'm on a long trip. I pack 2 of these as cheap insurance, and if I've had to use them before.
Okay. So yeah, and that's what I need to get. I mean, I've had them and then I don't. You know, I've either got rid of them, lost them. But that's how I ran out of gas, folks. It's not like I was riding on a full tank of gas and then just ran out. I made a bad decision. I said I can go to this next town, not knowing that the next town doesn't have premium unleaded. Run out of gas. I called roadside assistance, and the thing was, I knew I was in. It wasn't dark. I had plenty of water, and I pulled over on the side of the road. And the guy showed up about an hour later. I got a chance to talk to some of my Marine brothers who were keeping me company in the text message chat that we have. People on Facebook were making fun of me, and I was still alive though. I mean, I wasn't like, oh, I ran. You know, it threw my timing off a little bit, but man, that's part of riding. You know, I want to ask you a question about.
I can't remember who it was because I ran into a similar deal one time. Gas station that didn't have premium because like with mine. So I carry a little bottle of octane boost.
Yeah.
And just, one of the things I learned from somebody, it's like, because you can get a small little bottle. Of course, a lot of people recommend, put it like a little freezer bag just in case, so don't leak or whatnot. But some of those situations, if you're in the middle of nowhere, you need fuel, you only got unleaded, dump in octane boost, get the octane up and
get on down the road. Yeah. Trust me, I made not just mental notes. I made like notes in on my phone. I got a thing called potent. That means it's an important note. So I got it in there now. You talked about riding the monsoon. Do you wear rain gear?
No. I haven't bought rain gear. I mean, I'm impressed. Last year I bought a new Joe Rocket coat and I love the double zipper because it zips up the inside, flap comes over, it zips up this side. And actually that coat did phenomenal because my torso stayed dry. I just had my chaps and stuff on the lower half and I was not so dry, but no, I haven't bought rain gear yet.
No, so I wear Nelson Rig. It's called the Storm or something. Now here's the thing. I rode Houston, Memphis, Chicago, California. I get to Katy, Texas. And God opened up the skies. I swear He opened them up, man. And but I had on my top, but I didn't have on the bottoms. So I went and pulled over because I just couldn't I didn't want to be that soaked. So I pulled over and I tell you, I'm not advertising. I'm just telling you, I like my rain gear. Nelson Rig. I've been through the Harley rain suits. I've been through the stuff you see on Facebook. They swear to God it's 100% waterproof. This Storm, it's a 2-piece. I did the 2-piece. I don't like to buy the 1-piece. I'm gonna take this hat off of the head. It's wearing my head out. But I tell you, man, it works. And then I've got some over boots. I waterproof my boots too. But I got
I know you're talking about the over boots. Yeah.
I got those.
I know Craig Johnson, he swears by the Nelson Rig also, and I believe same with Jason Setzer.
Yeah. I mean, I swear it kept me like super duper dry. No rain in the crotch area. There's none of that. I don't know, it's supposed to be laser seamed and all that, and it works. I love it. I have the Harley-Davidson as a backup. I keep both of them at the same time, but my go-to rain suit would be my Nelson Rig. Helmet wise, I can't justify. Don't get me wrong. I got some showy road race helmets, some race replicas, Kevin Schwann's, Wayne Rainey. I got some stuff there, but I can't justify right now pulling the trigger on the Shoei Neotech 3, like $900. But my HJC, those doggone detents on the visor. Look, if you pull it up and the wind hits it, it goes right back down. And then I took it apart today. The detents are not, I don't even want to call them detents. They really shouldn't even call them that. So what I did was I took some electrical tape and I ran it along and I put 2 of them. And now it's got a detent, so it'll lock into place. I'm like, I shouldn't have to do that. I mean, that should be coming from the factory like that. I mean, I'm just throwing some stuff out there, but because when you're out there riding, for me,
Yeah.
comfort, I got to be comfortable and I got to feel safe. And I don't like ride with my visor up because I had a bug ping me right here above my eye one time and it didn't die. It was still fluttering. And so I got to, I'm riding at 73 miles an hour. While that's not super fast, it's unsafe to be trying to grab something out of your eye or get your helmet off while you're rolling. So I had to pull over. And so when I'm riding down the roads, I can keep my visor down. I don't like to ride. If I've got it up, I got that your little black shield right here for me. I don't, because the shield from the windscreen is going to buffer anything. It's going to go over, but them bugs, they always wind up right in your face, man. So I have to ride comfortable and I got to feel safe. I ride with gloves all the time. I don't like to ride without gloves. I did for a little while and look, see, I'm two-tone. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And my wife throws out the term, oh, you got sunburn. No, it didn't burn at all, but I did get tanned a little bit. I'm a little darker right there, and it hasn't come back yet, but it's, well, you see it real good. You see it real good right there. But yeah, that was in Arizona and California. I took the gloves off because they got a little, matter of fact, I took them off because I'm glad I reminded myself. They were Harley gloves. They were supposed to be called summer gloves. Denver, they literally shred on me. I still have them because I got a complaint open with Harley because they're still in the warranty for 6 months. They either going to refund my money. Well, I didn't pay for it. It was my rewards, but give me that $35 back on my account because those gloves were a piece of crap. I like your little things back there, the assholes neighborhood, half-ass garage. I like those, man. I like those.
Oh, yeah. Got everybody stickers. Well, I guess to be on this side. And
I need to send you. Hey, I'm gonna send you a 73 sticker, man.
Oh, you're gonna get us. I'm gonna be looking for it this weekend. I'm gonna find one.
All right, get you one. Yeah, get it out there, man. Get it out there. I see your Tour of Honor back there. So you're a Tour of Honor rider.
Yeah, I got my the first banner from the Monsters Over Mountains. We're riding for kids, asking you can help. And actually, these signs were actually a gift from the big ones, the V-Twin Life and the sticker board from Jason Setzer when I started doing this podcast. That was a Christmas present that came in the mail from him, which is pretty freaking cool.
Okay. So your miles, what is it called? Monsters Over Mountains?
Yeah, Monsters Over Mountains.
And you have a fundraiser link for that?
Yes. It's on my Facebook page. I think it's also on the V-Twin Life. givebutter.com/mom3 is the Give Butter page.
So I work for a law firm, and I promise this has been the most. I mean, my last company was great, but these guys, they love that I ride, and they love why I ride, and I've always talked about my monsters. So I'm going to grab your link and send it to several of them. I no problem, but they usually. I mean, like I did a ride, and I swear to you, man, in about 9 hours, those lawyers had put in $600 for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's things like that. You do this, you approach people, tell them about it, like, well, how much do you need? I'm like, I'm not going to ask for any dollar amount. So if you want to donate $1, every dollar helps. You want to donate your mocha money? Awesome. I will never ask anybody when doing the stuff for a specific amount because, I mean, everybody's situations are different. And tell you what, every dollar helps. So it doesn't matter to me, $1 is $1. Whether, you want to do 20, awesome. And everybody has different scenarios in life. So, every dollar that we raise helps these boys, and and that's what it's about.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, so I'll make sure I go grab that and send it to because they always ask me, well, Carl, what are you riding for today? What are you riding for the next? Because they asked me, I wasn't riding for anything on this ride, but they still ask me like, well, I know you got Cash App and Zelle, and so they helped a lot. That was another thing, man. I was out riding, and some people do it. It's I don't know what to call it. I don't know if it's a tradition. I throw that word out willy-nilly. But, people will say, hey, Carl, here's take a gas or whatever. And it's, trust me, I didn't get on the road broke, but, some people they think it's wrong. I feel like this, like you said, I don't ask for nothing. I mean, I post it, but if you don't, I don't be mad at you. Nobody in my family gave me anything, but if you can help, you help. But Bomb Monsters is a different thing. It's a different animal for me. I I really, I really believe in it. I mean, I've seen the boys. I want to meet all of them, but I really want to meet. So I drink the goat's hot chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I got two of them in the thing right now. I need to stock up because I think there's something happening. He's gonna be in town this month. I think Hop posted something, and I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna message. I think it's his mom is handling it. I need to message her and tell her to bring me some extra hot chocolate because I'm gonna be ready to buy some. But I want to meet. That's what I'm probably gonna meet first is the goat, and then I want to meet. I want to
Gavin's
meet all
really
of them at
cool.
one point. Yeah.
Like Frank said, hey, you know what? $1 a mile is $16. I mean,
$16.
exactly
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything we raise, I mean, that's the whole point. It's for them. And
It is.
it was cool because I got to, it was really neat. When I first started this, I got to meet Riot when Mile Monsters was his dream. It hadn't even started yet. And then, down the road, all of a sudden, this starts popping off and, Hopper's first ride in 21 really put things on the map and, just to be part of it and then see the growth over the, the last few years, it's been absolutely amazing. And, it's really cool to be part of that.
Yeah. Riot. I haven't met him, and I would love to meet him. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know if he's gonna ever see this. He was at the annual taco run, and I was afraid to speak to him. I swear to God, he was on. Frank was there. I think it was Frank and I. And Frank, it was you and I talking the wrong way. We were talking about the Denver thing, right? He was right behind Frank. I could have literally reached out and touched him. He was engaged in a conversation with another woman, and I just didn't feel like I didn't want to bother him. But I was that close to Riot, and I didn't say a word to him. That goes back to that, iconic kind of thing. But I just felt like I'd be interrupting him, and I don't know. It was weird. I really did. I wanted to meet him and shake his hand and tell him I love what he does, but I was afraid. I was afraid to say hi to him.
He's
so
a
if
very
y'all
humble.
see him,
he is so cool.
Yeah, tell him that 73 was afraid to speak to him that day.
I will. Have to make a soundbite. I'm gonna have to educate myself and put it out there.
Yep. I was like, man, he's right there, and you didn't say hi to him. I remember K Solo, the ride to eat that I went to when they were in San Antonio. He called my name. He was headed to Starbucks. He was like, "Hey, Carl, what you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing." He's like, "Come on, let's go get some coffee." Okay, I'm having coffee with K Solo, and I was, like, oh, but you got to understand. I mean, these guys, don't get me wrong. I mean, they do some phenomenal things. I mean, K Solo, 2 back-to-back 100,000-mile years on a different Harley.
Oh yeah.
Hop 100,000 miles in 100 days, and now he's doing it again, or was trying to do it again. That's not for the faint at heart. I mean, so yeah, I mean, these guys are bigger in life to me sometimes. So, and they set the standard. They give me something to strive for. I mean, I'm not gonna ever try to do those things, but I can say, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ride for Mile Monsters because Hop is doing it, and I know it's a good thing to do. And that's just the way it is for me. And I met
They're inspirational.
Yeah, the great word. That's a great word to use. Inspirational. Yeah, they are. I mean, because there's so much. I'm not a political guy. Lost some friends behind it, but there's so much crap going on in the world. It's always good to be able to put your hands on something that's meaningful. And Mile Monsters to me is meaningful. And so,
100% agree.
Yeah. So that's the way I look at it. My wife's in there. My wife, first of all, my wife, y'all, she threw some chicken on the thing. She did in the oven, made this glaze on it, my mashed potatoes and some green peas. I'm happy as a runaway. So I can't say that. I'm about to say happy as anyway. But my wife supports my riding, and for me, that's important because I have a lot of friends say, "Man, I can't have a bike because my wife says so." Man, thankfully, my wife didn't. I mean, we probably would have something to say about it, but and my brother and I have a.
Yeah, my wife's the same way. She's so supportive about this. Like when doing the Monsters Over Mountains. She's in there helping get all the food, doing because we have everybody here, and different monster events. Even, there's been times doing the honor week.
Yeah.
You look at these people that ride every day, like Rolo doing the 365 and Frankie, and then
365.
last year with Loco and Honor, and I was doing the honor week, and you got one of the days come home. It's like, I just, I don't want to. I'm just not in it. And she's like, get on your bike and just go. She goes, 10, 20 minutes. She goes, because you're going to feel better. I'm like, I just, I'm not feeling it. And then she pushes me, and it's like, you get back. I'm like, thank you. I needed that. And it is. It's the great support. My wife's great about it. And, plus, we take little trips and go and stuff. Like, we're getting ready next month. We're going to Montana for our 25-year wedding anniversary. She's like, let's take the bike and go. She found this cool little town called Phillipsburg on TikTok. She's like, we need to go check this place out. And it's like, so we have a reservation there for one night. It's like, what are we going to do the other 3 nights? We don't know yet, but we're going to figure it out. And, it's fun. Our kids have grown, and, they're all young adults, and
yep.
It's like,
same here.
Now we're trying to do our things.
You mentioned a name, man, and this guy here is just, you've had the luxury and the blessing to meet him, and I haven't. Loco. So
yeah.
I met Loco. He followed me on my 48 state trip, and it was the year prior to him doing the Hoka. And he was gung ho. And I remember when he was doing his little videos, and I was trying to promote him on my page. And we just hit it off. He came into town when they did the screening for, was that the GOAT that did the ride?
Yeah, I was there too. Okay, so time out on that. You want to know how I first met Loco? Face to face. We were, Facebook friends and all that. I'm down there, myself, Frank, and Bradley Thomas. We did the insane 3-man cannonball run from Washington straight through all the way down to New Braunfels. Took wife's car, and we rallied all the way down there. 31 hours one way, or 34, something like that. But we get to our hotel like 2 in, and Frank was saying something about Loco might crash or something. Like, I'm totally cool. I don't care. We're all there for the same reason. So I wake up to go get breakfast. Kind of climb out of bed. I got to take a piss. I'm in my underwear, and I look up, and there's Loco sleeping on the floor at the foot of my bed in the hotel room. Oh, morning, buddy.
Man, when he was coming through to go there, he reached out to me, but that day I could not get off work, and I was so hurt. But it's funny, his wife, oh my God, she knows I'm a model builder, and she's doing eBay things. But she found this F4. My favorite jet of all time is the F4 Phantom, and she found the anniversary F4. Forgot the name of it, but anyway, it's upstairs. And she said, Carl, I know you love models, but before I put this on eBay, do you want it? Bam, she shipped it to me free. And I was like, girl, I said, Kayla, but I have got to meet my boy Loco. He followed me on the Route 66 ride from time to time, but I just know without a doubt that he's a phenomenal, awesome kind of guy. We've chatted. I was in Jacksonville one year for the Iron Elite, and he was on my Facebook Live thing. And because every time I talk to he's always stroking his beard. So yeah, I want to meet him, man. There's so many people I want to meet in person. I just haven't had a chance to. But there's some phenomenal, when I think about that, when you say, when you call them monsters, there are some great monsters out there. I love it. I love it.
For sure. So, well, shoot, buddy, this has been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this.
I hope I did okay, man.
Oh, dude, it was great. But before we, don't go anywhere when we're done. But no, this has been a lot of fun. And, it's, I look at the timers like, dude, we've been going like 2 hours.
I see.
But no, see, that's the fun of it. It's just been, it's like we're just, I like to think of it, kind of virtually sitting around a campfire, just telling stories, having fun.
Telling stories, yep.
And just that camaraderie and that friendship, because we like motorcycles. And, man, it's awesome. And, Carl, this has been a lot of fun, man. Thank you so much. And thank all you guys for tuning in. We won't be here next Sunday because that will be the Indigo Monsters Over Mountains. I won't be live. Might be live on Facebook, but we won't be here. But be back the 27th with Dylan Dyer, because that guy's funny. He's always finding cool stuff. Dylan's a great guy. So we'll be kicking a milepost 152 on the 27th with Dylan. So Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Been a lot of fun. Thanks for everybody following the channel. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Later.
See you, folks.
This just in. Monster news. This summer, the mountains won't know what hit them. It's Monsters Over Mountains 2025, July 11th through the 13th. Over 1,600 miles, 7 mountain ranges, one insane 36-hour ride across the Pacific Northwest. Now in its 4th year, this epic endurance challenge supports the real heroes of Mile Monsters Inc., helping kids battling rare muscle-wasting disease DMD. Riders from across the country, brutal roads, breathtaking views, and a mission that matters.